Welcome back to the Bullet Hole Podcast, brought to you by Custom Built Firearms Manufacturing, and that's based right here at the Bullet Hole. I'm Lyle Cadell, I'm the media manager here at the Bullet Hole, and Custom Built is our in-house brand of AR-15s and AR-9 and all the goodies. So whether it's at home, at the range, or what?
In the field.
In the field. That's right. It's custom built for life. But we're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about this pile of goodies that we got right here and stuff that's going to be coming to the Bullet Hole. Brent Keltner is with us today. Brent, you own Mission Spec.
That's what they tell me.
Tell us what Mission Spec. Tell us about Mission Spec, man. Where'd it come from? I mean, how did you get there?
Well,
what?
You want the whole? I guess the whole story.
I want the whole story. Nothing but the truth. Okay. That's right. So help you God.
All right. Well, I started out after college in technology, I guess you could say, meaning computers, and it just wasn't. After a while, I just didn't want to do it anymore. I've always been a shooter, and the abbreviated version is I had started making some pieces of gear for myself, like slings and very simple things, and then when I was taking classes or at events or something, every once in a while somebody would see it and they'd offer me money to build them one. So I was like, maybe there's something here. Maybe this is something that could happen. So Mission Spec. I'm really bad with dates, but I know it was over 10 years ago.
Oh wow!
When Mission Spec started, and it started with a single product. It was a sling, a rifle sling, and very lucky that Mission Spec's first product was a success, because it survived on about 4 years with one product, and it just sold a ton of those slings, and we call it the IAS, and it was there was nothing like it at the time. Now there's a few out there that are very similar, not close enough that I'm sure they took the idea, but when it came out, it was pretty unique, and back when single point slings were kind of the rage,
And now you have a 2-point.
Yeah. Now
which I own.
It's
on my rifle.
And I've actually started using the 2-point now, my own. When I designed the 2-point, I tried to take as much functionality that made the single point sling a success and put it into a 2-point sling. So it's kind of, it was very much inspired by the first sling, but it's called the M2P. The Mission Spec 2-point sling wasn't very inventive, but it's still they both still sell to this day.
And you've been cooking up stuff in your shop for 10. I didn't realize that, for 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow. That is. And you've been blessed with some DoD stuff.
With the DoD stuff, it's for a small company like me. It's we're not talking about like
big order
contracts with the Marine Corps or something like that. You're talking about smaller unit orders or stuff like, or I mean, tons of individual soldiers and Marines and stuff like that. But lots of custom solutions. Like if a certain unit has a specific thing that they need this piece of gear to interface with this piece of gear, can you make it work? And I usually can make it work.
Yeah,
you're the man for that. Absolutely.
And Greg is here with us today because he sports the gear.
and
you've done some work over there too. So.
A little bit.
Greg probably has at least one of everything that Mission Spec makes. I think.
So, and we'll get into all this stuff.
Sure.
Too. I just wanted to kind of get a bio of where it all started, where it came from, and and you do most of the assembly, everything. I mean, yourself.
Yeah, I'm the only person that's there all the time. When things get out of hand, use contract labor, send it out to some other companies sometimes to produce, but most of the time it's me.
And by the way, this stuff is coming to the Bullet Hole,
right.
And so you're going to be fashioning your wares here at the Bullet Hole. I don't know, what are some of the SKUs what are some of the things that are going to be available?
So when I wrote up this PO, the biggest thing I targeted was kind of getting a footing for Brent. So I kind of targeted what I think sells best. At least I carried this stuff at a previous shop as well, so I kind of took that experience. So we're going to be running some of the chest rigs that we're going to talk about, some of his Gibberum belts, some of the M2P slings. We got a few of those. He makes and this is a little bit off topic, but he makes a fantastic dog collar. So I ordered up a bunch of those because you can't keep them in stock. You know, they're in multicam and all that cool stuff. They're fantastic.
All the cool patterns, yeah.
Yes. Let's see. I ordered up some of his targets as well because on top of soft gear, he does an absolutely fantastic training target. I'm sure we'll talk about here in a little bit. So we're going to introduce that to our range. Is there anything else I'm missing on there?
That's what's
MeFac.
on the
That's
PO.
the bulk of it, yeah.
Oh,
Me-
were there
MeFac
any MeFacs on there? I don't think there were.
There will be on the
There will
next
be.
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Promises. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, before we get into the rest of this, let's take a break and we'll get back to it. But just wanted to get your brain where it all comes from, man. And it probably comes from some napkin drawings too from other people and stuff like that. You know.
Oh yeah, I got all kinds of drawings. Some good, some bad. Yeah.
So and we're going to talk about. We'll probably talk about that. But let's take a break and we'll be right back right after this. Welcome back to the Bullet Hole Podcast, and we're sitting here with Brent Keltner, the owner and the magician of Mission Spec, and you can reach them at missionspec.com. You're located right here in Overland Park, but you're also going to be having your stuff right here in our store, here at the Bullet Hole. Let's get to some of these products and where they came from. One of them, let's do the MeFac thing first.
Okay. Is this attached?
Yeah. I want to hear this story. There's a great story between these two about how this thing came to be. Let's hear it.
You started it, so sorry.
Yeah. So for a little bit there, you know, I was going over to Mission Spec to assist with some of his operations because some of this stuff, I don't know how he does it day in and day out. You know, cutting the fabric, then sewing it, or you know that all of that stuff, all the steps involved. It's a very exacting process. Seeing him do it firsthand was absolutely impressive. But either way, I'd go over and help out every now and then. You know, cutting webbing and that sort of thing, not actually working any of the magic, just getting stuff ready for him to take care of. And you know, I'd been tossing around an idea for a miniature IFAC for quite a while in my head, and all of these pouches that I had seen, you know, with blowout pouches, number one, when you open them, the whole thing opens. And then you have all of this stuff that may or may not go flying everywhere out of the pouch. You know, they call it a blowout kit, and they're not kidding because all of the contents blow out of the pouch the second you open it. Yeah. And then to compound that, everybody always wants to stuff their med kits full to the brim at that point. And so, it just compounds the issue. Anyways, that was part of it. The other part was, hey, why not have a pouch that disconnects rapidly to access said medical components? So we kind of sat there and talked about it, and then he pulled out a really close example to kind of what I was thinking of. And so from there, you know, I was doing terrible napkin and graph paper drawings to convey what my thoughts were on it, and we powwowed, and you know, he put in his expertise, and now there's a product sitting
So
there.
tell us about it. What do we got here?
This is the MeFac, the Mission Essential First Aid Kit. This one looks kind of ratty because this is my shop example. It was like one of the first that was actually finished of the final design, so it doesn't look great, but it's just the one I grabbed off the shelf.
So for those who are listening, this thing is probably what are the dimensions? You probably know them off the top of your head.
Well, if you look at the PALS grid on the back, you know that these are 1 inch spacings. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2 halves. So 7 inches tall, probably 8 inches total, and then 1.5 inch for each cell here. So about 4 inches wide. So it looks like a beefy double magazine pouch for an AR-15.
Okay.
You know, something like that, something about that size. But the idea here is that it attaches to any PALS grid, which is, you know, a lot of people call that MOLLE, a PALS grid, via 2 malice clips like this. And so you have the option then if you can either tear the whole thing away.
No one can hear that and get Velcro there.
So the base stays obviously on your gear, and then you could hand this to somebody, or if it was on your back, you could tear it off, and with the Velcro, you could even then stick it to the Velcro on your front and work out of it or something like that. But then, of course, you can also just leave it attached, but I won't put it back on there. But then you can just yank it open, all the way if you want,
Mm-hmm.
and then everything like Greg was talking, like in a blowout kit, or you can just open the top and just get into it that way. Like if whatever it is you needed, you can keep it right in there.
All right.
So that's it in a nutshell. There actually is a promo video on missionspec.com
Mm-hmm.
that it shows everything. That if you're just listening to this, you can go watch that.
Yeah.
And the other cool part too is on here, both side enclosures open up as well. So if I need to get into the side of the pouch,
Yeah.
I can. And then we've also got a nasopharyngeal sleeve down one side. Oh, look at that. Came prepared. So you've got, this is the loaded up version here. So you've got nasopharyngeal, tension pneumothorax needle, all that good stuff fits in this sleeve on this side. And then on the opposite side, you've got a little glove sleeve as well. So, if you just needed your gloves out of here, you open up this side door here and boom, there's your gloves, and not all of your equipment is spilling out all over the place. And that was kind of my touching point is it's like, okay, if I just need PPE out of my blowout kit, I don't want to stop and undo all of this stuff just to get one piece out. So,
and it's real, it's small and compact. So if you want to throw it in a bug out bag or whatever, goat home bag or whatever you want to have it, it's easy to pitch in there as well. And just a really good piece of kit and a very well made piece of kit. So that's the MIFAC, and it's the Mission
Essential first aid kit.
Okay.
The original idea was MIFAC, but I think it's Raptor Tactical has the MIFAC, so we didn't want to.
Yeah, I didn't want to double up
no
on
reason
that.
to do that. So, yeah. And we have the Essentials carrier line. Mission Spec is already kind of known for the word essentials, so it made sense to put essential in there.
So that's the next thing. This is kind of the. This is actually a carrier. So tell us about this carrier right here.
This is the second version of the Essential carrier. The first one was the EOC, or the Essentials Only carrier, and the idea was that it's a lightweight, kind of a jack of all trades carrier. So it maintains a lightweight, but it will kind of do everything you really need it to do. That basically means that it's got a PALS grid for attaching MOLLE pouches. It has all the built-in provisions for attaching chest rig. Except just the chasm buckles you need to get, which they're on sale at Mission Spec for 50 cents each. And if you buy one of our chest rigs, it comes with them. And it's got some cool little things like some pockets on the side here that you can put pins or chems or gloves. Obviously, a place for identifiers. I should be clear here that the chest rig on the front, this is the MagRack 5 Lite, does not come with the chest rig, but it's obviously fully compatible. And then the side straps plug straight into the chest rig if you want to run it that way, instead of so that way you don't have any flopping around. It's just more secure. So like I said, this is the second version. This is the EC2, the Essentials Carrier 2, and it's obvious if you had it next to an EOC, the original. It's obviously inspired by the original, but it is an all around better carrier.
Gotcha. In one of the things folks need to understand probably is that these pieces and parts, especially when it comes to the chest rig, even in store, they're separate and apart from each other, like the MagRack 5.
Even the chest rig and then the straps for the chest rig, as far as Mission Spec goes, those are separate products. Some places sell them together, like they'll sell the chest rig with the rack straps. But
that's how we'll be doing it here.
Okay?
So
Yeah.
we're going to skew them together.
Yeah, so it's one product. But the way Mission Spec does it is everything is a piece, and you can build the kit you want, and it's all compatible with each other.
Gotcha.
And it's also like the rack straps that are on there. There's two different versions, and they're compatible with all the other industry standard chest rigs. So if you like Mission Spec straps, you can use it on the other chest rigs out there.
And these are, you get the thick plates in here that you actually sell, but
yeah, that's just
anybody,
foam.
Yeah, but I mean any kind of plate can be put in.
Yeah, any shooter's cut, medium or large size, which is like around a 10 by 12.
And we're talking what kind of material for folks that are wondering out there? What kind of material are you using?
The carrier itself.
For this in particular.
Most things are 1000D Cordura. There are a few patterns that are only available in like 500D, like the new multicam patterns are only produced in 500 and less. They don't produce them in 1000. I still like 1000. A lot of companies have gone down to 500D, and if you want to know what denier means, I have a great video on YouTube that explains it. But it's just, in a nutshell, it's fabric weight. So 1000D is going to be much more resistant to abrasion than 500D. But 500D is a little bit lighter. So so most everything is made with 1000D. The webbing is all Berry compliant mil spec webbing, which is the current spec is AA 55301, if anybody cares. So everything that Mission Spec produces is nothing but Berry compliant mil spec standard.
And real quick, just for the viewers and listeners, what does Berry compliant mean?
It's a good question.
In a nutshell, it means, can it be procured during a time of war? In a nutshell. So even simpler, it usually always means, was it made in the United States? Did the yarn come from the United States? And was it milled in the United States? That's basically what it means. But it's got to have like the Berry compliancy certs, or else it's not Berry compliant.
Gotcha. Now, we'll set this aside. What's underneath here, Greg?
That's the same thing.
Yep.
It's
So
just
that's
a multicam black.
Yeah, that's a multicam black
Okay.
EC2 with the shoulder savers on there.
All right.
Yeah, fantastic rig. So that's my version of it, right there.
So folks are just listening to the podcast. I mean, and trying to imagine this, and we're looking at the two side straps, and then the shoulder savers. Talk a little bit about those, Brent, if you will.
Well, like I said before, everything as far as Mission Spec plate carriers go is modular. So the plate carrier is a product. The shoulder pads, which we call shoulder savers, are a separate product. The chest rig is a separate product. We have adapters on the side that give you ability to put on side armor. That's a separate product. So you buy what you need, because some people don't need side armor or just don't want it, or don't, whatever.
Yeah.
So this is the third version of the shoulder savers. Very similar to the second version. It's just we added these loops here so that you can run hydration and comms cables through and stuff like that. Yeah. If you wanted a difference between 1000D and 500D, this is 500, and that's 1000.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. So if you're watching this on YouTube, this is 500D.
It'd be hard
and
to
you
tell.
probably,
the
you
difference.
can't already tell the difference.
You might be able to see it's a little bit floppier since there's no plates in it. It's just real. It's just kind of a softer material, if anything.
So I don't know if y'all can tell those two products from one another. All right, well, let's take a break, and I want to get into chest rigs,
Sure.
mag rack, and all that type of business.
This last carrier is super cool too.
All right. All right, back to the Bullet Hole Podcast. I'm Lyle Cadell, media manager here at the Bullet Hole with Greg Langner, our sales guy, gunsmith, jack of all trades. And then the owner of MissionSpec.com is Brent Keltner. And we've been chit-chatting about some of his gear here. We talked about the MeFAC. And then this chest rig. Explain this chest rig to us.
Sure, yeah. This is the Mag Rack 5. Mag Rack 5. I have to say it I have to enunciate. The idea here was just a super simple Stanag mag, which if you don't know what that means, it means like AR-15 style mag, but Stanag mag chest rig. It will fit AK mags if you want it to. But the 5, a lot of people get this confused. The 5 does not mean 5 spaces. The 5 means 556. So the Mag Rack 7, meaning 762, is actually completed. It hasn't been released yet. And then there will be a Mag Rack 9 for 9mm, and there will be a Mag Rack Sub 9, which is going to be for like submachine gun size 9mm mags, and maybe some more. I don't know, but
you added some stuff here.
Yeah. See, on the Mag Rack 5 by itself, it just has these wings with laser cut pals on them. So Greg has put the MIFAC here, and then I believe I made
Two
that.
clock
didn't I?
mag.
Yeah,
that's a custom
one of your
pistol mag
customs.
holster over there.
House clips.
Yeah, so there's also, this is the Mag Rack 5. There's the Mag Rack 5 Lite, which is just the same thing except it omits the wings. So it's an even slimmer thing that it's really designed to put on the front of plate carriers.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So this is.
Oh, all right. This is the Gibberum plate carrier. So it's an even more stripped down than the we have a stripped down version of the EC2, which is called the AC2, or the Armor Carrier 2. But this is even more stripped down. The idea here was if you operate in and out of a vehicle, what kind of plate carrier would you want? Well, it'd be nice to have no external buckles on your shoulders because they can get hung up on the seat belts or all that kind of stuff. So all the adjustment on the Gibberum belt, or we have the Gibberum belt too. The Gibberum,
we'll get there. Yeah.
Sure. The Gibberum plate carrier is done inside via Velcro. So you get it set the way you want it and leave it. And it's super slick. There's no pals in the back, just a Velcro field for identifiers. And on the front, of course, it is completely set up and ready for chest rigs. Because that's kind of the thing these days is just slap a chest rig on there, or some companies call them placards, whatever. But yeah, that's this one. It's was probably about a year old. I think it's been out for probably about a year. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other cool part to mention too is on the cummerbund. It has the same material that's in the Gibberum belt.
Yeah.
So the cummerbund is extremely low profile, but it's still rigid. So if you were to put pouches on there and everything, you don't get that carrier sag, because a lot of cummerbunds, when you start putting pouches on the sides, everything sags way down, and it starts interfering with your handgun or anything else on your first line, like mags and IFAKs and all that. So this carrier solves that problem by retaining its rigidity and being extremely slim at the same time, and it rides fantastic too. That once you get it sized in and everything, it kind of fits you like a body glove. It's just really comfortable.
Very breathable material
Yes.
here too. I'm seeing on the inside. So I'd encourage you, if you're listening to our podcast, please go to our YouTube channel, which is the Bullet Hole KC, and watch this video if you can. Once we get it up, so that you can actually see this stuff, or better yet, come in the store, or visit missionspec.com.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a promo video on the website for this as well.
Yeah.
Most products have a promo video on the website, so you can also check it on. They're all on YouTube as well.
Yeah. So make sure you check those things out so that you can actually see what we're talking about, rather than just kind of imagining. But we're getting questions, and people are asking about gear like this, and that's why we wanted to bring it in. In the day in which we live. This is August of 2020 right now as we're speaking together here, but it's kind of on people's minds. For reasons that are obvious.
The current events, from coronavirus to the civil unrest, it's caused the industry that I'm in is bonkers right now. Like, it's just everybody. The industry is pretty small. Most people kind of know each other and will kind of trade comments back and forth, and everybody is just completely swamped right now.
Yeah.
It's from armor to everything. I'm sure. I know ammo is the same way.
Yeah.
I would imagine guns are too. It's pretty crazy right now.
And we'll have those pieces in store. There won't be necessarily a long lead time, but I'm sure if you get backed up, it's going to reflect in the store as well. But that's okay, But hey, good things come to those who wait, I guess.
Absolutely.
But no, and the belts. We haven't talked about the belts yet, and we don't have one here in the show.
Shoot, yeah.
I'm actually wearing right now your Low Pro that you built for me.
Okay.
But you have the Gibberum. Tell us. The name. People are gonna be like, "Oh, the what?"
Well, Gibberum comes from the Bible. It's David's mighty men were known as Gibberum, and I forget exactly what it means, but I'll mess it up if I try to say it. I can't remember exactly what it means, but it basically means faithful warrior, like standing against the odds, that kind of thing. It just seemed like a good fit, since the idea was for concealed carry holders. As a if you're ever in an altercation as a concealed carry shooter, you probably didn't cause the situation. You're responding, so there's a good chance you're outnumbered, or at least you're behind the power curve, as they like to say these days. So it just seemed like a good name for it, and there's really nothing deeper than that.
And then also, just a couple podcasts ago, we were talking about concealed carry holsters and belts. This is a belt to check out. I'm throwing out a clue out there. This is one of the ones.
Yeah.
Well, it started out as an ultra rigid belt,
it is.
Yeah. We have it's a nylon or a resin impregnated nylon webbing that makes up the core, and so the original Gibram had 2 layers of that sandwiched together, and if anybody had a complaint, it was that it was too hard to weave through some holsters,
loops.
Little loops that are solid that you don't get to go over, so the generation that's current now only has one of those layers, and it's still really, really stiff. So the idea was that the double layer was just overkill. It was just too stiff.
And even with the single layer, like I've had mine for I think 3 years now, it's loosened up a little bit. That's it. It's not getting any looser, and that's fantastic, because every time you wear it, it's not like a leather belt where it's going to stretch over time. This thing provides the same level of comfortable carry, I guess would be what I'd say, every single time I wear it.
Yeah, it's nice that it allows that the belt doesn't have to be so tight in order to hold the weight of a weapon, because it's rigid. So that's nice.
Yeah, never cuts into your hips, because you don't have to cinch the thing down to make it carry the weight. It just carries the weight of the gun on its own. It's nice and comfy. Looks super cool. Yeah.
And you offer different buckles for that belt?
Yeah, there's 3 different buckles. There's the Raptor Generation 2 buckle, which Mission Spec is a distributor for. If you've never seen the Raptor, it's kind of like an American version of the Cobra buckle, which the Cobra is really, really popular.
Right.
But Mission Spec, we only use U.S.-produced materials. So got involved with the company that makes the Raptor years ago. We've had a great relationship ever since. So we use that. That's the kind of the top option. And then we have, if you like low profile, then we have the G-hook version. I think most people are familiar with G-hooks.
That's what we're going to be having here in store.
It's actually the one that I recommend to people, just because it's super low profile. I mean, it's only like this big.
And you're probably not going to get stopped in the airport. And
probably not. Yeah. And if you wear a duty belt outside of it, you're not wearing this big buckle on top of a big buckle.
Right.
And that's kind of, that dovetails into why I prefer it as well, is because for concealed carry use, it's easier to weave through the pants, in my opinion.
There you go.
Because you can put it all on without taking off one end of the buckle or anything like that. It all slides on nice and easy when you're getting ready in the morning. So it fills the role that at least I'm trying to cover right now, which is bringing you all a quality concealed carry belt.
Yeah, absolutely. So did the belt inspire the dog collar at all?
Well, as I said before, I'm really bad with dates. It's hard to remember exactly when things. I don't think so. I think the dog collar just kind of came out as a thing, as like, well, Mission Spec stocks all these different webbings.
Yeah.
And usually, if you go online and look for multicam dog collar, it's usually not real multicam. It's super cheap stuff, and so I thought, well, I have the real stuff, should make a dog collar. So I contacted one of the distributors that I use for buckles, and lo and behold, they actually have a purpose-built dog collar buckle.
I'll be doggone.
I was like, oh, well, let's just do it. Wow. It's you got to be. There's I think we're probably going a deeper dive than we want to in this, but you got to be careful with dog collars, because if you have an auto cinching buckle, that can kill your dog. Yeah. If it gets caught, if they jump off something and then it gets yanked, and then it's cinched. But the buckle that we have, if you cinch it, it will just go back to its original size. It will never stay there.
Yeah, you can only adjust the size with the tri-glide on there, correct?
Right, correct. Yeah. So it has a retainer there. Yeah. It's I'm surprised there's not more lawsuits about people that just make dog collars out of the auto tensioning buckles. Most people don't realize it.
So maybe we'll have some of those in stock. I
think they're on order. Yeah.
We absolutely will.
Oh, we do.
I
Okay.
ordered several. At my previous shop, that was a really good seller. So I
Yeah,
wanted to make sure. to
I
bring
didn't realize
here.
that was in the PO.
They're very affordable too.
yeah.
They're not too expensive.
Yeah. So if you need a new dog collar for your, I don't know.
It's called the Fido hold. If
So for Fido, for however big Fido is, how big? See, you have two of them.
Oh yeah, and I ordered three colors. We got Desert Digital on the way. We got multicam and multicam black. So your dog can be sporting some real tactical, gadgetry.
Tactidog.
Yeah,
you can pretend your dog was in the army. You can pretend your dog was a SEAL.
Yep.
You can.
Yeah, so I ordered those up. Like I personally, on one of my dogs has the regular multicam, and then the other dog has the multicam black one. They're fantastic.
Awesome. We've never. Everything's got a warranty on it. Never had one returned. I can probably count on two hands the number of times that I've had to repair something, and most of those are when buckles get slammed in car doors, like polymer buckles, or something like that. Everything that comes out of Mission Spec is overly produced. It always almost kind of weirds me out when sometimes, like, when I'll be modifying another company's piece of gear, and I won't drop any names or anything, but when you open up the gear and pull the stitches out, it's amazing how few stitches sometimes are holding pieces of webbing that you rely on in place, and Mission Spec does not do that. It's awesome. Like I said, I've never had a plate carrier need repair of any kind. Just some slings where, like I said, that have been either run over or slammed in car doors. Sometimes the polymer breaks, but
Very cool.
Yeah, I gotta say, after watching him do the work, he's not lying. It's meticulous. The attention to detail is fantastic, especially seeing all the components laid out, which I know you've made some cool posts showing the different components laid out before everything gets put together. And when you look at the finished product, it doesn't look like 40 different pieces of things sewed together. It looks like one cohesive piece. But yeah, it's pretty impressive to see it firsthand.
And it's cool to go over to Brent's shop is an experience in itself.
It's super cool. The other part too worth mentioning is we're all about supporting local here, so
Absolutely.
we're happy to bring Brent on to further the Kansas made in Kansas
Yeah,
mantra.
it's too bad that I've grown up in this city, forever, and so the bullet hole has been here as long as I've been alive, and here I am. Mission Spec's been in business for, I'm guessing, around 11 years, if my math is right, and I've never had anything in the bullet hole.
No, and I mentioned that to Jim when I came, and then Greg, we worked on that together, so it was just a
the last
deal.
time I talked to anybody before this go around was the previous owner, and they weren't too crazy about, as far as I understand, about newer stuff in there. I don't mean that in a disparaging way at all.
Sure,
sure. But Jim seems to be kind of wanting to pull it into the future, I guess.
Well, we are, and this is kind of an aberration of that.
Sure, yeah.
We're the only, as far as I know, the only range in town that has a podcast. Yep. So, and we're the largest indoor shooting range in Kansas City, by the way. Wink, wink. Just putting that out there. There's some other great folks here in town too that we like and love. So, if folks want to look you up on the gram and they want to see pictures of what you're doing,
Facebook and Instagram are where most of the stuff happens.
Okay.
I would suggest Instagram. No real reason. Just Facebook is sometimes weird to navigate.
Yeah.
You can lose stuff on Facebook, it seems like. But just Mission Spec. And then YouTube and Twitter are Mission Spec 1. But Twitter is just it auto-populates from Facebook. I never touch the Twitter. Don't send me messages on Twitter because I don't ever look at it.
Gotcha.
Twitter is dark place. You know, so I just try to stay out.
I've been in social media for almost a decade, and I understand.
Yeah, I don't even think it's installed on my phone. So, but Instagram is probably the best. If you like to see behind the scenes of gear, what goes into it, like Greg said, I've got a lot of pictures of the process. I even have some time-lapse builds of like an entire plate carrier. That people find that pretty interesting, and there's some cool shooting and training stuff on there too.
Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
Yeah, we have a good time with that stuff.
So lastly, one product that I failed to mention was the the target. That we're going to be bringing in.
Yeah, shoot.
We don't have one with us to show folks right now.
Yeah,
believe us.
It's just another reason to go to Mission Spec or come in and check them out.
There
when we
you
get
go.
them in.
Yeah,
there you go. Because it's going to be on its way here.
Do you want me to describe it or anything?
Yes,
Okay,
please,
okay.
if you would. And what the mindset is behind it.
Well, for me with shooting is I'm as far as shooting goes, I am an accuracy over everything kind of person. I believe the speed comes from becoming more accurate. Obviously, since you know, as a civilian, what I call bullets, supersonic liabilities. So I just feel accuracy is everything. Mm-hmm. And so for me, a target is going to be purpose designed to make me more accurate. Okay, so pretty much the accepted way to become accurate, the easiest way is to shoot small targets. You know, I mean, everyone's heard aim small, miss small, that kind of stuff. It's a real thing, you know.
Yeah.
So the RTCA, the reference target chart, A means alpha, is the first one, has just a bunch of 3-inch circles that are bisected. Okay, and then they're numbered and lettered. So you can do a lot of different drills with this target, but if you're just by yourself practicing fundamentals, since there's so many little targets, this one piece of paper, it's 13 by 19, can last your entire session, unless you're just banging away, which isn't helping your accuracy. So that's how I designed it. They come in 100 target pads that are glue bound on the top. If you think of like a notepad, that way you just tear it off and the wind won't blow all your targets away because they're all attached to each other. They come in a nice reusable cardboard box that it ships in that Velcro's closed and everything. So, and they're not too expensive.
We're gonna have them one by one.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do?
Right.
Yeah. Here, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna sell them on the range primarily in individual pieces versus the 100 packs. With that, one of my big annoyances whenever I go to ranges is a lot of times they'll sell targets where you've only got a couple of focal points to shoot at, and then you kind of have to make them up as you go. Like on your standard silhouette, you've got the bullseye, and then you have numbers around that bullseye. And so a lot of times I'll go and fill up the bullseye, and now I'm like, okay, I'm going to shoot the number 7. And then I drill the 7, and I'm like, okay, I got to go to the number 5.
Yeah.
Whereas his target is purpose-built for having multiple shooting areas on it. On top of that, you can shoot, for example, dot torture with it. Or like I've written up my own drill for carbines called Carbine Agony to go along with dot torture. And so, with that written up, that's a 60-round drill instead of 50, and it works out perfect on that target, especially because at carbine, distances, we're not shooting at, 3 to 7 yards or whatever. We're shooting a little bit further away, so those 3-inch circles make it pretty
Makes it
workable.
nice.
Oh,
yeah, it makes it nice.
The bisected part is nice too because you can choose to shoot the white portion of the circle or the black portion. You can
Are
use
they
that
alpha and delta? I mean, are they alphabetized in the bisection?
No. Each
Okay.
circle is 1 through 3, and then alpha through. Well, it goes A, B, C, D, M,
Yeah.
because the
Okay.
last one is M, is the Mission
Okay.
Spec logo.
Okay.
So, yeah, sorry, it took me a
Gotcha.
second there. Yeah, so there's 12 3-inch circles per page, and then in between there are some 1-inch circles that just if you want to shoot.
Really
1-inch
want to get
circles.
on it? Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Marksmanship.
you might as well try.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And it's amazing how if you give somebody a target this big, your brain will fill that target with holes. If you give someone a target this big, their brain will fill that target with holes. So it just makes sense, just use smaller targets. So the idea came from, I used to always shoot note cards on the range.
Yeah.
Because they're cheap.
Oh, yeah.
And then I started tearing the note card in half, and then a few times I'd put a slit in and put it in edgewise to see if you can shoot it in half. That's where the idea came of the 3-inch circle.
That's good. So those are going to be available also here at the Bullet Hole. Time-wise, I mean, kind of for all this stuff, are we looking at within...
The targets should be here soon. They're currently being printed up because...
and also, just to mention, those are printed locally too, correct?
Yep.
So that's another kind of neat thing.
KC
Is
Metro,
that,
U.S.-produced paper and everything, even the glue, as far as I understand.
and those, and as far as the kit goes, we're probably looking...
The what?
As far as the kit goes...
Yeah, it's probably going to be in phases. Like all the belts will come first, just because everything. I try to run everything in batch, and it just doesn't make sense to run it one piece at a time. So all the belts will probably come first, then probably the dog collars. The targets will be whenever they get back to me. They'll be there. So probably just a few days for the targets.
Awesome.
From now.
Yeah, we're excited about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it for all of it, too,
yeah.
to have Mission Spec here at the Bullet Hole. So do you have any other little things you want to add in there, maybe?
No, not off the top of my head.
Greg?
Not terribly. I just say, hey, as this stuff starts coming in and we start posting it up on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff, or shooting small YouTube clips, come in and check it out for yourself. It's absolutely fantastic gear. It's worth the time and the money. 100%. I've got a bunch of it, through helping out Brent with different things and us being friends and everything. It's great gear, and I'm happy to rep it anytime.
And we'll be doing an actual video on for the the actual my brain just went dead.
The target
on the target.
Yeah.
We're gonna actually do a demo video for y'all, and that'll be up on our YouTube page as well as we'll put it up on other socials. So, and by the way, if you haven't subscribed to us, most likely you have. Who knows? Maybe you're listening to the podcast and you haven't. Look us up at the Bullet Hole KC. That's across the board, whether you're on Facebook or Instagram, and you can find out our stuff. And he's at Mission Spec on the gram. Mm-hmm. So, and you can call us up here always at 913-432-0050. And look us up also on our website at thebullet.com. So I think that if y'all got the Googles, man, you can find us, all of us.
Yep.
Yep.
You can probably even find Greg. I'm not going to give you his handle unless he wants it out there.
Yeah, it gets shared to the Bullet Hole page enough, I'd say, with all the gunsmith stuff I post. So
people will figure out where
to
find that at.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, well, man, so good to have you, Brent.
Thanks for having me,
and
guys.
have you on board here
it.
too with your stuff here at the Bullet Hole. So we're looking forward to it, man.
Yeah,
So,
it should be good. Should
Absolutely.
be good for everybody.
all right. Well, until next time. And by the way, always brought to you by Custom Built Firearms Manufacturing. If you want a good quality AR-9, AR-15, or AR-10, look us up on the gram. Come in with a website, but also come in the store and check our stuff out. Custom Built Firearms Manufacturing here at the Bullet Hole. So until next time, we'll talk to y'all later. Have a great day.